Welcome back guys. So I purchased Asus ROG Ally from Flipkart India a couple of weeks ago for around rupees 60,000 during a sale. It's a Windows 11 based handheld PC. I have the Ryzen Z1 Extreme variant of this device. I'm about half a year late to the party. This video is going to be ROG Ally's overview. We'll be explaining to you its basic features, go through the first time setup process, show you how to configure the Armory Crate application for the best possible performance. It's a well-known fact that this device's SD card slot fries the SD card when the device is under stress, producing a lot of heat while running demanding AAA titles. So what I'm going to do is upgrade the device's storage from a 512GB NVMe SSD to a 2TB NVMe SSD. This one is also a PCI Gen 4 SSD. I ordered the SSD from E2C store for around rupees 10,000, roughly around $120 US. In the box you'll be getting a ROG Ally, this cardboard stand. Let me just place the device on it. Temporary solution before you buy a proper dock. And this 65 watt charger with an Indian plug. Connect the 3-pronged power cable here. See the rating for the charger. 20 volt, 3.25 ampere of output. The charging cable uses a Type-C plug. Cable length is around 2 meter. Device's manuals will be present in this black cardboard box. Now I'm a big fan of handheld gaming, already on Steam Deck. I have been covering it for almost a year now, so it was only natural for me to purchase ROG Ally. Now I'll quickly go through its design, build quality, buttons and I/O ports. Although the body is completely made out of plastic, device does not feel flimsy at all. We already know that it survived JSAUX pen test, so it's definitely durable. It's actually more compact and lighter than Steam Deck. Its weight is around 608 grams. Steam Deck weighs around 669 grams. Comes with a white matte finish, fits very nicely in my palms, all thanks to the grooves at the end of its grip handles. Holographic stickers are also present in these grooves. I have small hands, found it a bit difficult to reach the center of the bumper buttons. The display extends 7 inches diagonally, full HD resolution IPS screen, supports up to 120Hz refresh rate, VRR, FreeSync Premium. This technology automatically syncs the refresh rate of the display to the frames produced by the GPU, thereby eliminating any screen tearing. Produces a smooth image when an object is in motion. Xbox style layout for the sticks and the face buttons. The rings around the sticks have LED lighting. Circular style D-pad. Buttons feel nice to press. Stereo speakers in the front. 4 plastic buttons flanking the display. This is the share button, start button. This button opens command center. Using it we can quickly access some shortcuts and useful features. This button opens Armory Crate application. Very useful app used to configure the system. We'll be covering it in the later part of the video. These sticks are using regular potentiometers. They are not using Hall effect sensors, so they are prone to stick drift. I did not like the quality of the sticks. They are a bit loose. I'm a bit disappointed that Asus did not add a trackpad to this device. It's running on Windows after all. You are supposed to move the mouse pointer using the right stick. Let's check the device's backside. Okay, so it comes with textured grip. Has these 2 plastic grip buttons. Asus call them the macro buttons, M1 and M2. This thin strip on the backside changes color depending on the orientation of the device. Looks so cool. There is no RGB lighting here. These are the 2 intake vents. Hot air is blown out of the system through these vents present on the top side. Let's check out this area. There's the 3.5mm input, SD card slot. I'll just remove my SD card. As easy as that. This is the proprietary ROG XG mobile port. You can connect this device to an XG mobile eGPU. These GPUs are very expensive, proprietary. Asus sells them on their website and go up to RTX 4090. In my honest opinion, if you want that kind of power, it's better to just buy a laptop. There's the Type-C port. Supports USB 3.2 Gen interface, DisplayPort version 1.4, volume buttons, 2 LED indicators. First one is for battery, second one is for the system. This is the power button, also works as a fingerprint reader. I often use it to unlock the device. Now both bumper buttons and triggers have a textured finish. Triggers use Hall effect sensors. The bottom side is completely blank. Here you'll see your device's serial number. No buttons are present here. Now I'll quickly compare the specs of both of these devices. ROG Ally comes with a Ryzen Z1 Extreme processor, 8 Zen 4 CPU cores, coupled with an RDNA 3 based GPU with 12 compute units. Its max power limit for the APU is rated at 30 watts. On the other hand, Steam Deck has a Zen 2 based CPU with 4 cores coupled with an RDNA 2 based GPU with 8 compute units. Its max power limit for the APU is rated at 15 watts. At 15 watts power level for the APU, both of the devices perform roughly the same. It's only at higher power levels where ROG Ally outperforms Steam Deck with a considerable margin. Both of the devices have the same battery capacity of around 40 Wh. To no one's surprise, Steam Deck outperforms ROG Ally in the battery department by a considerable margin. At 30 watts turbo mode, ROG Ally's battery is not even going to last for an hour when running a demanding AAA game. I have the 512GB storage variants of both of the devices. Steam Deck comes with a PCI Gen 3 SSD and ROG Ally comes with a PCI Gen 4 SSD. Both of the devices come with 16GB of physical memory, which is shared between the CPU and the GPU. Steam Deck's memory is clocked at 5500 MHz, whereas ROG Ally's memory is clocked at 6400 MHz. It's faster than the former. I have the LCD variant of Steam Deck. Its display extends 7 inches diagonally, IPS panel, supports up to 60Hz only, 800p resolution. ROG Ally's display is considerably better than that of Steam Deck's. It has support for higher refresh rate, higher resolution, and even produces better colors. Its display is protected by Gorilla Glass Victus. Steam Deck only has one fan for the purpose of blowing out hot air out of the system. ROG Ally has two fans. They do a decent job of keeping the temperatures in check at up to 25 watts of APU power. But when you set the APU power at 30 watts and enable CPU boost, these two fans cannot prevent the system from overheating. Temperature very easily reaches 95 degrees Celsius, and if you keep playing games at such a high temperature, you may end up damaging your system. Another thing I like about ROG Ally is that it comes with Wi-Fi 6E. Steam Deck on the other hand has Wi-Fi 5. I'm done with the comparison. Now I'll be upgrading the device's storage. After upgrading its storage, I'll be required to install Windows. I'll be using Asus Cloud Recovery method. Just make sure your device's BIOS is up to date before using Asus Cloud Recovery method. Reinstalling Windows will reset the device. I'll have to go through the initial setup process again. Just like using the device for the first time. Make sure no SD card is present in the SD card slot. Let's remove the screws. It's a very simple process. We need to remove these 6 screws. This bottom middle screw does not come out completely. Just need to loosen it a bit. I'll be using my Phillips Zero screwdriver from Stanley and this prying tool. Whenever you are removing the screws from a machine, always start from the corners. I'll start from here. This is the screw. Yeah, it's a bit tall. Make sure you don't strip out its head. I had a hard time removing the screws of my Steam Deck and ended up stripping the heads of a few screws. This corner screw was a bit deeper. There you go. I loosen this screw but it won't come out. Now I'll be using the pry tool to remove the cover. I'll just insert it here near the trigger area. There you go. Screw is still present in the cover, put it aside. These are the two intake fans. SSD is hidden behind this black cover. Don't need to remove this cover completely. Yeah, there's the SSD. Disconnect the battery by pulling out this plug. Remove this black cover. Don't need to peel it off completely. There's the screw. I've taken out the 512GB NVMe SSD that comes with ROG Ally. It's from Micron Gen 4 SSD. I have replaced it with another Micron SSD that has a capacity of 2TB. After changing the SSD, when you start ROG Ally, it will straight away boot into the BIOS, and you can see it has detected a new SSD, Micron 24EE. Its capacity is around 2048GB. I am using this dock, JSAUX HP0603. I have connected the Ethernet wire. We'll be downloading Windows image from Asus Cloud Server. Power cable has been connected. Before starting the cloud recovery process, make sure correct date and time is set in the BIOS. There you go. Now press the Y button to access the advanced mode. Go to advanced tab. There's Asus Cloud Recovery option. Make sure no SD card is present in your SD card slot. Start the process. View policy. Just need to go through the prompts. Give all of the permissions. Internet connection is required. That's why I connected as Ethernet wire. File is ready for download. Just need to press next. At least 20% battery should be remaining. Better to just plug in the charger. Connect to a stable Wi-Fi network. Already connected the Ethernet wire. Enough available storage space. Of course. System is downloading the files. Just need to wait for a few minutes. Download complete. Took about 5 minutes only. Also, I would like to mention, don't forget to register your ROG Ally on Asus website. You will be required to enter your device's serial number. You will get to know about its remaining warranty. This prompt popped up. Do you want to back up your files first? Not at all. Are you sure you want to start a cloud recovery process? The total size of the recovery file is around 15 GB, which may take some time to complete the process. Yes, process started, and this can take some time. Process complete. It took about 20 minutes. Restarting PC. What's going on here? Windows is working automatically. ROG Ally is going to restart frequently during this phase. Just need to wait. Alright, we are in the end. It took about 64 minutes for the complete installation of Windows via cloud recovery method. Go to the initial setup process. Select language. Select your country. Keyboard layout. Accept the terms. Name your device. Sign into your Microsoft account. Okay, so we have the option to restore our PC from a previous backup. I'll just set this device as a new PC. Set up the fingerprint reader. It's basically the power button. And there you go. Setup in. There's the desktop. I'll just connect to Wi-Fi first. Remove my dock. Connect my Bluetooth mouse. So the first thing that you need to do after completing the initial startup setup process of Windows is to look for updates in Armory Crate, My Asus and Windows settings. We need to keep the system up to date. Updating Armory Crate application from Windows Store. Launched Armory Crate application. We'll be looking for updates. Just go to Content. Tap on Update Center. Check for updates. These are the updates that are available. I'll just tap on Update All. Make sure that the device is plugged in. A restart is required to apply the update. Now open My Asus application. New updates available. Install all of them. From here you can access the battery care feature. I'll just set the charging limit to 80%. ROG Ally supports pass-through charging. Once the battery level reaches 80%, the battery will stop charging. The device will be completely powered up from the charger. This will help in extending the life of the device's battery. Just enable battery care mode. There you go. Essential updates. AMD graphics driver. Install. Restart PC to apply the update. Then we have the latest updates. These are some minor updates. You need to manually install them. First I'll just download them. Specify the directory where you want to download them. Download complete. Just open the directory. Restart my PC later. Install the other updates. Now just search for Windows updates. Check for updates. Updates are being downloaded. Wait for the process to complete. We'll be installing all of these updates. Now by default, when I try to select any file by tapping on it, double tap function gets executed. So I'll be changing one setting. Just click on the three dots here. Then click on options. Under click items as follow. Select this setting. Double click to open an item. Single click to select. Apply. I'll also increase the size of the desktop. This is completely optional. Right click anywhere on the desktop. Click on display settings. By default the scale is set to 150%. I'll just set it to 175%. There you go. I have my charger plugged in. So now I'll be explaining all of the useful software features. First we have Adrenaline Software. Just right click anywhere on your desktop. Then click on AMD Software Adrenaline Edition. Its shortcut keyboard keys are Alt plus R. First we have the home section. Here you'll see the last played game, recently played games, and the version of the software itself, 23.10.2 in my case. Just click on gaming here, access the gaming tab. Under the game section you will see all of the games installed on your system. Click on graphics tab, very important. From here you can select the profiles. I am using a custom one. This is my profile. First you need to make sure Radeon Super Resolution is enabled. This is basically a driver level implementation of AMD's FSR version 1 upscaling technique. This technique upscales the image from a lower resolution to a higher resolution, thereby reducing GPU load, which helps in improving the performance. The quality of the upscaled image looks almost identical to the original image depending on how good the algorithm is. Now getting RSR working with games on ROG Ally can be a bit buggy sometimes. The recommended way is to set the desktop resolution at Full HD and the game's resolution at 720p. Display mode set to full screen, but this is not going to work with all of the games. So if you run into any such issue, just set the desktop resolution at 720p and even the game's resolution at 720p. I ran into this issue in Persona 5 Royal. Now some games support higher versions of FSR like version 2 and version 3. In that case, just disable RSR and use the game's built-in FSR. FSR version 3 is way more better than version 1. Then we have its sharpen effect. I have set it to 75. You can manually increase or decrease it depending on how the image quality looks. Ensure Radeon anti-lag setting is checked. It helps in reducing the latency. Now I don't use these settings. If you want to read their description, just move the pointer at the question mark corresponding to the setting. For example, Radeon Boost. It improves performance in supported games by real-time adjusting resolution based on user input. Radeon Image Sharpening Tool. You have the option to either use this setting or RSR. I prefer using the latter. You can try experimenting with both of these settings. Then we have the VSync setting. Make sure it has been set to always on and do not enable VSync from in-game settings. VSync helps in eliminating screen tearing. Then we have the display tab. Here make sure AMD FreeSync setting is enabled. ROG Ally's FreeSync range is from 48 to 120 Hz. LFC will kick in if the FPS drops down to anything less than 48. In short, you should not be observing any screen tearing. I have disabled very bright setting. It basically saves power by adaptively adjusting the display brightness. Display color enhancement, I have disabled it as well. You can select either vivid gaming or dynamic contrast. I did not like these presets at all. Entirely up to you. I have enabled custom color setting. From here I have just changed two settings. Set the contrast to 80 and saturation level to 90. Then just click on the settings cog here. Go to preferences and make sure this setting is enabled in-game overlay. Now whenever you launch a game, a prompt will pop up in the top right corner indicating the status of Adrenaline GPU settings like RSR, anti-lag, etc. You can always open Adrenaline while a game is running by pressing the Alt plus R keys on the keyboard. I'll just quickly run a few games to demonstrate how to use RSR. ROG Ally's display resolution is set at Full HD. I'll start GTA 5. Game started. There's the Adrenaline pop-up. RSR is working 720p to Full HD resolution. In-game setting, I've set the in-game resolution to 720p. If you want to see the status of RSR again while the game is running, just press Alt and R keys together. There you go. Graphics. RSR is active. If it's not working properly, here you'll see inactive. I'll demonstrate this as well. Desktop resolution is set at Full HD. Now I'll run Persona 5 Royal. Here's the Adrenaline overlay and you can see RSR is inactive. I'll press Alt plus R keys. Open Adrenaline Software. And even here it's mentioned RSR is inactive. In-game resolution 720p. Now I'll show you how to fix this issue. Close the game. Start the game. There you go. RSR is working now. Resolution upscaled from 720p to Full HD. This is how you fix it. Now I'll be explaining the features of Armory Create SD app. There's the application in the taskbar. You can also open it by pressing this button. If it's not opening for you after a fresh installation of Windows, just make sure your app is up to date. Click on the Microsoft Store icon here. This actually happened to me. Click on Library. Scroll down until you find Armory Create SE. There it is. If you are running an outdated version of this software, here you will see the option to update it. Just do that. Now click on this tab here, included with device. ROG Ally comes with free 3 months of Gamepass Ultimate subscription. It can be claimed from here. In my case, the offer expires on 4 June 2025. Now I'll just open Armory tab. First we have the game library section. Here you'll see all of the applications and games that are installed on your ROG Ally. These are the games and these are the launchers: Xbox Store, Steam, Epic Games. If some game or application does not show up here, you can add them by manually adding their exe file. Just click on add here. Select the game or application from here. Then we have the settings section. Command center shortcuts can be edited from here. In order to access command center, you just need to press this button. These are all of the shortcuts and features present in command center. So I'm going to add a couple of features. Tap on add here, then select resolution. Using this feature, you'll be able to change ROG Ally's desktop resolution on the fly. Command center. There it is, the resolution feature that I just added. Tap on it. Desktop resolution change to 720p, 900p, Full HD. Tap on add. I'll be adding another feature. CPU boost, very important. There's the feature. By default, CPU boost is enabled. For most of the games, I keep it disabled. With this setting disabled, ROG Ally CPU clock speed will stay around 3300 MHz, will help in reducing the temperatures. The thing is, most of the AAA games are more demanding on the GPU than the CPU. So with the CPU boost setting enabled, the game's performance does not improve at all. Unnecessarily high temperatures. In short, just enable this setting in games that you know are very demanding on the CPU. For example, Act 3 of Baldur's Gate 3. In that scenario, with this setting enabled, you will observe some improvement in performance. We are done here. From the command center, we can increase or decrease brightness and volume levels. We also have access to these settings: sleep, hibernate, restart and shutdown. RSR can be enabled or disabled from here. Real-time resource monitor, FPS limiter. From my testing, I observed that the FPS limiter was a bit buggy, so I ended up using RTSS. I did not even like Ally's real-time resource monitor. I'll be using a custom one created using Afterburner and RTSS. We'll be showing you that in another video. Access the desktop by tapping show desktop here. Disable ROG Ally's controller by tapping on embedded controller. Very useful when you're using your own gamepad. We can switch among the different operating modes from here. Silent mode has a maximum APU power limit of 10 watts. I use this profile when I'm not gaming, using the browser, checking out the PC. Then we have the performance mode, 15 watts profile. Most of the game should be running in a playable state using this mode. It will help in conserving the battery. This is actually the maximum APU power limit for Steam Deck's processor. Next we have 30 watts mode, the turbo mode. If your charger is not plugged in, the maximum power value for the APU will drop down from 30 watts to 25 watts. Now I'll be honest guys, I never use this mode. It increases the temperature so quickly. Ally hits 90 to 95 degrees Celsius temperatures within a few seconds. It's better to create a custom profile with a maximum APU power limit of 25 watts. I'll show you this. Just tap on operating mode. These are the different modes available. Tap on manual. Tap on OK here. Select your profile, manual mode. I'll rename it. Tap on the 3 dots here. Tap on rename. I'll just name this profile as 25W. Now just scroll down. First we have the SPL value. Set it to 25. This is the maximum sustainable APU power limit. SPPT. This is the maximum APU power limit that is sustained for only 2 minutes. Set everything to 25 here. FVPT. This value is sustained for only 10 seconds. And this value can go up to 53 watts. Don't use it. There you go. Then we have the custom fan curves. And just click on 3 here. Now move the third last point to 100. What this means is that when the temperatures hit 80 degrees Celsius or anything higher than that, fan 1 will be running at full speed, 100%. It will help in reducing the temperatures. I'll set the next pointer at 90%. Do the same thing for the second fan. Our custom fan curve for the second fan is also ready. Now we need to save this profile. Uncheck this box. Click on yes. You can switch to the manual profile from command center. There it is, manual operating mode. I only use this mode when the charger is plugged in. On battery I prefer using the 18 watts mode. Then we have the GPU settings, very important. From here we can change the UMA buffer size. These are the values available, starting from auto to 8 GB. 16 GB of physical memory available on ROG Ally is actually shared between the CPU and the GPU. So when you select any value from here, for example 4 GB, only 12 GB of the remaining physical memory will be available as RAM. Now for modern AAA games, I recommend setting the value at 6 GB. This is why I run my AAA games at HD resolution, not full HD resolution. Higher resolution will lead to higher VRAM consumption. In some games you will be required to set the UMA buffer size to auto, for example Alan Wake 2. For games that are not very demanding on the hardware like the indie titles, you can set the UMA buffer size value to 4 GB. We start to apply the changes. Then we have the game visual setting. Different display profiles are available here. You can also tweak the color temperature, FPS, cinema, scenery, racing, etc, etc. I'll stick with the default profile. Lighting. From here you can change the brightness level of the rings around the sticks. You can also change the LED effects from here. I have set the brightness level to 0%, increase the value 33%. Effects, breathing, strobing, color cycles, etc, etc. Speed can also be changed from here. I don't use them. I'll just set the brightness level to 0%, entirely up to you. Then we have calibration setting. If you are facing any problems with any of the controls of ROG Ally, it's recommended to recalibrate them. From here you can calibrate left and right sticks, left and right triggers. There's the gyro calibration option. Select it. You just need to put the device flat on a stationary surface and then start the calibration process. Now I'll show you how to configure the gyro controls for any particular game. Go back to game library. Select your game from here, for example Persona 5 Royal. Press the X button. There's the gyro option. Select gyro behavior from here. If you want to use gyro controls for fine-tune aiming, select as right stick. If you want to use gyro controls for steering your vehicles in racing game, select as left stick. Accuracy can be adjusted from here. Then you need to specify the button that enables gyro. By default it is set to always on. I only prefer this setting in racing games. For shooting games I usually set the gyro enable button to left trigger. There's the option, left trigger. Entirely up to you. You can select any other key. From here we also have the option to remap ROG Ally's controller keys. For example, I'll just select right trigger. I'll just remap it to left trigger. Tap on the primary button. Select left trigger or any other key that you desire. There you go, its primary function has been changed to left trigger. I'll just revert the change. A secondary function is also available for a key. In order to activate it, we just need to press and hold any of the back grip buttons. This is why they are known as macro buttons. Then we just need to press the specific key. For example, for the right trigger, I'll assign the secondary function to, let's say, a keyboard key, H key. Entirely up to you. Now in order to activate the H keyboard key, I'll just press and hold any of the back grip buttons and then press the R1 bumper button like this. Last but not least, we have the control mode. Just tap on configure here. These two modes are available, gamepad and desktop. The former gets activated when we are playing a game and the latter is used when we are using the desktop, not running any game. An auto mode is also available. We can switch among the different modes from command center. Auto mode, gamepad, desktop. I usually stick with auto mode. I'll configure the gamepad mode now. Key mapping, already explained you this. Left stick. From here you can adjust the response curve and dead zone for the stick. Same thing for right stick. I'll just change the dead zone area. As you can see, it has been increased. What this means is that the stick will not register any input if even after moving it, it stays inside the inner circle. I'll just revert the change. Then we have the anti-dead zone setting. This is useful in adjusting game's own dead zone setting. Then we have trigger. Input detection can be adjusted from here. Vibration, I have set it to nil for both left and right sides, entirely up to you. Gyro, already explained. I'll show you how to create a macro for combo keys and assign it to any of ROG Ally's controls. For example, I'll select left trigger. I'll assign the macro to its secondary function. Click on unassigned here. click on combine keys. I have already created 2 macros. I'll just delete both of them. Press X button to create a combination key. Click on the edit icon here. I'll just create a macro for Adrenaline shortcut key, that is Alt plus R. Click on Alt and click on R. Keys have been added. That's it. Our macro is ready. Select it. It has been assigned to the secondary function of left trigger. Now in order to activate this macro when you are running a game, you just need to hold any of the back grip buttons and then press the left trigger. We are done with gamepad mode. Then we have the desktop mode. Same settings. Different functions have been mapped to ROG Ally controls with this mode. For example, left mouse click has been mapped to right bumper. Right mouse click has been mapped to right trigger. Again, you can assign a secondary function to any of the keys here. If you don't want Armory Crate application to launch automatically whenever you start your ROG Ally, just go to Content tab, tap on System, go to About section and set Armory Crate SE launch automatically setting to off. That's it, we are done here. Now I'll be removing some of the spying features of Windows 11 using CrystalDiskMark Debloat script. Just copy this line of text, click on copy here. Need to run it in PowerShell. Press the Windows icon. Type power. There's the option to access PowerShell. Right click, run as administrator. Click on yes. Paste the line of text that we just copied. There you go. Hit enter. Wait for the script to execute. Now click on tweaks. From here I have checked the tweaks that I'll be removing from my system. For example, disabling telemetry. The description has also been provided. I'll also disable hibernation. You don't need to do this. Hibernation on Windows is hit or miss. It works in some games while others just crash. I will also be removing OneDrive. If you use this service, you don't need to uninstall it. Mouse acceleration disabled. I'll also disable storage sense. Run the tweaks. Script is running in the background. Done. This one is simple. Just uninstall the bloatware from Microsoft that you won't be using. Click on Windows, type apps. Click on default apps. Click on apps and click on installed apps. Just don't install any application from Asus. Lot of Microsoft bloatware is present. Clipchamp video editor. I'm never going to use it. Cortana. Uninstall. Microsoft Family. No idea what that is. Film and TV. Just remove the junk. Microsoft 365. I'm never going to use it on my ROG Ally. It's up to you. Microsoft Teams. Microsoft To Do. Spotify Music. Now I'll be disabling some Windows features that can affect the gaming performance. These recommendations come directly from Microsoft. First I'll be disabling memory integrity. Just press the Windows key and type core isolation. Click on the setting. Set the memory integrity toggle to off. That's it. Then click on the Windows icon here. Type hyper. Click on this setting. Turn Windows features on or off. From here, make sure the box corresponding to virtual machine platform is unchecked. Click on OK. We are done with the tweaks. These are the CrystalDiskMark benchmark scores for the original SSD that came with ROG Ally, 512GB capacity. I'll just quickly run this test on my new 2TB SSD. On the right side, I have the results for the new SSD. Got a sequential read speed of around 4722 megabytes per second and a sequential write speed of around 3924 megabytes per second, considerably faster than the previous SSD. Change the sleep settings. Just click on the Windows icon here. Type sleep. Click on power, sleep and battery settings. Scroll down. Tap on this icon next to screen and sleep. I have disabled sleep due to inactivity on both battery and plugged in modes. Never. Ally screen automatically turns off after 3 minutes of inactivity. You can change these values entirely up to you. By default, power button is assigned to sleep. Now it's time to run a game. I'll just start Persona 5 Royal. Now to get RSR working, I need to drop the display resolution to HD. Start the game. RSR is working. Access command center. CPU boost disabled. RSR enabled. I'm running the game using the silent operating mode, 10 watts. Graphics setting, high preset. FPS limit set to 120. 720p resolution. In-game VSync disabled. Full screen mode. There's a character joker. I'll enable the real-time resource monitor. Minimal profile. It's showing the FPS counter. Remaining battery percentage. I have set it to row now. Horizontal row. CPU and GPU usage are also shown. Now I'm using the square profile. I can move it. CPU and GPU usage are shown. Clock speeds are also shown. Temperature. Remaining battery percent. AP watt. 10 watts. This is not the total power draw. FPS. This seems to be the FPS graph. It's a bit funky. Play the game. Performance will be limited if you are using the silent profile. 52 FPS. I'll just switch to the performance mode. 15 watts of maximum power reserved for the APU. You can see FPS increase up to 97. You'll get the best results with 18 watts of maximum APU power. Now I'll switch to my 25 watts manual profile. Not a big improvement in terms of performance. FPS increased from 97 to 114, and now we are seeing a big improvement. Temperatures are under control, 62 degrees Celsius. APU power draw increasing. I can hear the fans. They're not very loud. That's good. Temperature is still under 60 degrees Celsius. Okay, so I'll just switch to the 30 watts turbo mode. Just observe the increase in temperature. It's slowly increasing, 65 degrees Celsius. So you get the idea, almost 70 degrees Celsius. So that's it with my beginner's guide coverage of ROG Ally. I hope you find it useful. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.